Hey folks, it's Jacqueline for Pixie Dust PhD. It is currently September of 2020, which means that this channel is 7 months old. If you are a small YouTuber now, or you're thinking about creating a channel anytime in the future, I do these monthly creator updates, of course, once per month, in order to give sort of a behind the scenes look about what I'm thinking about as well as tracking my numbers. I'll leave a link to a playlist of all my monthly creator updates so far in the description below, or you can also click the card here. This month we will of course go over the analytics as per usual, but I'll do a bit of pontificating about video upload schedule, and we'll also go on a little bit of rant on mansplaining and some reflections on setting new goals. I hope you stay tuned as I typically have a lot of questions for all of you. These videos are meant to be fairly interactive, or at least as interactive as YouTube can be as a platform in order to sort of build community around creators. First, let's talk about video types. My channel is definitely focused on informational videos, not really your typical travel vlogs. I don't have any trips to Disney planned right now, but even when I do end up going in the future, I'm not sure that I will vlog it necessarily. I know that audiences really enjoy vlogs and those channels tend to do very well. I totally get that, but it's just not something that interests me a ton from a creator point of view. That being said, creating information-packed videos is pretty demanding time-wise and occasionally can be less than fun on my end of things. So this past month, I decided to do a couple of videos I would classify more as the fun category. My partner and I did listicle videos where we listed our top 5 things that we always do at Walt Disney World, and then a separate video with our top 5 things that we never do at Walt Disney World. I had a really good time. It was fun to interact with my partner that way, and it was wild how fast the process was. There wasn't really any research necessarily involved, so prep time was pretty minimal. Filming took around 20 minutes for each video, and then editing was maybe 35 to 40 minutes. Even editing captions in post was faster than usual just because they were short videos, and also I think the word count was probably relatively low. In my standard informational videos, I tend to talk pretty fast to try to get things in but keep the video short. In these conversational listicle videos, we weren't talking particularly fast by any means. All in all, I think the total process took around 2 hours from start to finish for each of those listicle videos. In contrast, my typical informational videos take a lot longer. It definitely depends a bit on how much research I need to put in the topic, how much I already just know off the top of my head versus the amount of time I need to spend digging into various aspects, but a typical video I would say is probably 6 to 8 hours total. So it's a lot of time doing prep and writing the script. Filming is normally around 40 minutes or so. Part of that's on me. I'm not great at delivering the lines and I don't make a point of memorizing the script by any means. I think I have gotten better at delivering the lines over time, but the point is that they are scripted because there is a specific way I'm trying to convey the information and there is specific information I want to convey. So there's not a lot of room for me to just talk off the top of my head. Of course you can do this, but that would make the videos much longer. And sort of the ethos of my channel is trying to get viewers what I deem to be the need-to-know information in a short amount of time. My original goal was to keep all the videos under 10 minutes. That definitely hasn't been happening. Sometimes there just is too much that I want to go over to feasibly get it into 10 minutes. But other than these monthly creator updates and a few more casual chatty type videos, the informational videos tend to definitely be under 15 minutes. I really shoot for 10 minutes as often as possible. After filming, editing normally takes probably around 2 hours. Some of this again is because I have a lot of takes to get certain lines out exactly the way I want, so it takes time to sort through all of the garbage takes. Some of it though is I really do genuinely go frame by frame in and pick exactly where I want to make the cuts. This is probably unnecessary. That being said, that is what helps cut down on my video time length. There's not a lot of dead space in my videos and I do that on purpose. But all of that work comes in the editing process because I of course can't deliver it perfectly one take through ever. 6 hours may honestly be an underestimate depending on the video that we're talking is, 12 to 14 minutes in length. It's probably closer to 8 to 10 hours total. This can also definitely be higher if YouTube, for whatever reason, just doesn't create automatic captions for my videos. So captions are really important to me for accessibility reasons, so typically YouTube will create automatic captions and then I go in and edit them. This does take time, maybe about a half hour, but it's not a huge amount of time. If YouTube decides just not to create captions, which has happened for several of my videos, I'll normally wait a day, see if they're there. If they aren't, I'll delete the video, I'll re-upload it, wait a day or two, etc. And if they just aren't showing up, even upon multiple uploads, then I basically give up and I write the transcript myself. Transcribing a 12 to 14 minute video doesn't sound like a lot of work, and work-wise, I don't think it's a lot of work, but it does take a lot of time. And then YouTube will auto-sync your transcription to the video, but you still have to go in and fine-tune the timing as well. None of this is meant to be complaining. This is totally what I signed up for, and ultimately, for the most part, I think it's worth it. While some of my videos may not have the number of views I was hoping for, I still think I am putting high quality information out there for people to use at their pleasure. So if you are considering what topics to tackle for your channel, I hope this peek behind the scenes about how long it takes me to put together one of my videos is helpful for you. For now, I have been uploading every 4 days. I originally picked this fairly randomly, if we're being honest. I knew I wanted to try to upload regularly, and I felt like I could not commit to twice a week and meet that deadline every week. So every 4 days felt like a nice compromise where it was very close to twice a week, but it wasn't necessarily Tuesday and Friday with no wiggle room. Currently though, I am considering scaling down to once per week. I'm coming into a pretty busy work season for me, so I am concerned that I won't have very much time to dedicate to the channel. I also anecdotally have heard time and time again that if you upload the same day of the week at the same time, you will have more views and a larger audience and all of that. I haven't been able really to test that because every 4 days, of course, lands on a different day of the week all the time. I have very non-scientifically sort of tested out uploading at different times of the day. I've not yet done a morning upload, but I have done several clustered around lunchtime Eastern and then also several clustered around dinner or right after work time Eastern. I personally haven't noticed that this makes a difference, but that may just be because my audience is relatively small still. All that to say though, I would be very interested to see if I upload just once a week and it's always Tuesday and it's always, for example, 3 p.m. Eastern, if my engagement and the audience does grow. I'm really curious as to what your upload schedule is and also how did you decide that? I'd really appreciate any insights you can give me to how you navigate this aspect of your channel. On to the next topic. 100% this is going to be kind of soapboxy, so if you're not interested in that, you can check out the description below and skip ahead to the next timestamp. Let's talk about mansplaining. I try really hard not to be a coastal academic elitist. I genuinely don't think holding a PhD makes me better or smarter than anyone else. I do think holding a PhD typically signals to people out there in the world who may be interacting with me or judging me otherwise that, hey, I am a curious person, I am a lifelong learner. To me, that's really what having a PhD means in its essence. My Twitter name, as this channel name, does have PhD right there in it. It's right up in front of your face. It's pretty hard to miss. And yet, more and more this past month especially, and particularly on Twitter, I am getting replies to my tweets, quoted tweets, and DMs that are just super mansplainy. I am just sick of it, if we're being honest. I don't believe in resolutions, but somewhere in late 2019 or early 2020, I decided to flip a switch that said, well, I'm not going to be a doormat anymore, and I'm not going to let anyone, but especially men, walk all over me just because they think they should be able to. Part of this meant accepting the fact that there probably are going to be a lot more people now out in the world who will label me as aggressive or rude or whatever for standing up for myself. But for me personally, I've decided that that is worth it. Having undergone intense studies of bystander interventions, I genuinely do think it's very important that when you're calling people out, you assume good intent. So if someone says something racist or sexist, etc., go into it assuming they mean well, but they're saying something harmful and they aren't aware. So I always try to make that clear when I call people out. It's very like, hey, I'm sure you meant well, but just so you're aware, XYZ thing came off ABC way. A big overarching point of mansplaining for me is that intent is different than impact. For the most part, I do think people mean well, and like I said, I do try to point that out in my retort to them. But the impact can be very different. And if you aren't careful with your words and what you're saying or what you're typing on Twitter, etc., well, ultimately, the impact can be bad, and you don't get to control that. You don't get to tell me, well, since I meant well, the impact should be good. You can mean well, say something horribly, and the impact will be horrible. So in the past month, there have been several instances where people have composed tweets or direct messages to me and it comes off super pedantic and condescending. So I tell them, hey, I'm pretty sure you're just trying to share your joy of XYZ thing or spread this fun fact, but the way you stated it has this impact on me. There's a really gross trend in a lot of fandoms, especially some of the titles and properties that Disney owns, where people just assume you don't know anything about it for no reason. And then people feel the need to just tell me this fact in a tweet without any context to what I was saying before, what they are replying to, or that it's, hey, I think this is so cool. It'll just be, hey, XYZ fact. So I have been writing back something along the lines of, hey, FYI, this came across pretty mansplainy. I'm sure you probably just meant to share a fun fact and you wanted to share the joy of that. Next time, please consider composing your tweet so that's obvious. For example, oh, I think it's so cool that XYZ, instead of just stating XYZ at me. For the most part, all people ever do is backpedal and say, well, that's not what I meant. I'm not going to speak for all women or people who experience this behavior, but really what I want when I call people out for this is for them to say, oh, I see what you're saying, I'll do better next time. I don't even care for an apology, honestly. I just want you to try to modulate your behavior to come across more kind. Also, don't try to save yourself with a compliment sandwich. It can't be, "Oh, Jacqueline, that's such a pretty name. I didn't mean to be rude. I just wanted to share something fun. By the way, love your profile picture." That totally negates everything. You are just shoving everything I said under a carpet and sweeping it away. For me personally, also that comes across more pedantic and condescending because you think I will be fine with it just because you gave me some lame compliments. Just no. If you confront people who mansplain you in a way you find to be effective, please share with me. Certainly my way is not getting through to people very well, even though I think per my bystander intervention training, it seems to be a correct way to go about things. However, this may just be a reflection of the people I'm interacting with and maybe not perhaps my methods. I'd be interested to hear what you have to say though below in the comments. Before we jump into analytics, let's just quickly talk about goals because these things are often intertwined. Personally, I really don't want to become that person that spams folks' DMs with messages like, "Hey, I'm really trying to reach my next milestone or goal of XYZ number of subscribers. Please consider subscribing to my channel." I get so many of those between Twitter and Instagram and I find it extremely off-putting. Especially when you can tell it's a simple copy-paste and they don't even look at your profile to see what your interest might be and explain their channel or suggest a specific video that they think you would resonate with. I respect the hustle. At the same time, I would just rather my channel grow in a much more organic nature. I also am really not interested in hollow subscriptions, and I feel like when you do these spammy copy-paste messages, that's kind of all you get. I realize you're going to get hollow subscriptions no matter what, whether or not you're seeking them out. That's just how it works. There's no channel, I think, in all of YouTube where 100% of the subscribers are engaged. But I certainly don't want to be seeking out additional hollow subscriptions. There's a lot of literature that suggests that for goals to be effective, they need to be SMART. SMART is an acronym with a few variations, but the one I see most common is S is for specific, then there's measurable, assignable, realistic, and time-bound. For me, though, it's hard to imagine a SMART goal, especially one that's measurable and time-bound, for a YouTube channel that isn't related to the number of subscribers. So I'm having a hard time coming up with a new goal. I know a lot of people chase that 1,000 number to become monetized, and I totally get that, but I just don't think that that's something that I want to make be my primary goal for the channel. I've seen a lot of channels fizzle out somewhere between 100 and 1,000 subscribers. I certainly don't know why. That being said, I know for me personally, if I fixate on these numbers, especially the subscriber number, I think that will increase my chance of fizzling out as well. I do want this to be a fun hobby and I want it to be something I learn from, and if all I'm doing is chasing number of subscribers, I feel like I will start to hate it. Therefore, I could really use your advice, as always in these monthly creator update videos, about what your goals for your channel are and how you came to those decisions. Especially if you have some goals that aren't based around the number of subscribers, I definitely want to hear them. I could really use some inspiration, and who better to turn to than you. Let's move on to the numbers. For month 7, the analytics I'm going to be talking about for this month specifically will run from August 11th through September 10th. During this time period, I had over 1,400 views, resulting in about 130 watch hours. These came from 679 unique viewers. Average view duration was 5 minutes and 32 seconds, which translates to an average view percentage of 46.4%. I got almost 17,500 impressions from YouTube, with 21% coming from YouTube recommending my content. 67.2% of my watch time during month 7 was from those who were not subscribed to the channel, but I did get 37 new subscribers this month. The number of subscribers for month 7 was down from month 6, and also the average view percentage was down about 2 percentage points. However, the average view duration did increase about 20 seconds. This month I got almost double the amount of total impressions compared to last month, which is super exciting. And there's definitely a noticeable increase in views, watch hours, and unique viewers. Watch time from those not subscribed also dropped about 5%, which is pretty cool. Moving on to lifetime for the channel, we're now at over 3,500 total views, which is just under 300 total watch hours. Average view duration is 5 minutes and 7 seconds, which translates to around a 46% average percent viewed. Lifetime, there's around 41,000 impressions, with around 18% coming from YouTube recommending my content. Lifetime for the channel, 71.5% of my watch time is from those who are not subscribed, and overall now we have 139 subscribers. For the most part, everything is still trending really well. For example, almost half of my lifetime watch hours came from month 7 alone. The watch time on the channel from those who are not subscribed is also very slowly dropping, which is encouraging. The number of total impressions for this month really exploded for a reason I really can't explain or don't know or don't understand, but regardless, it's exciting. And I believe this is the first month for me personally where every day views were at least in the double digits. So my worst day during the month 7 period was September 8th, where I only got 15 views on that day. In previous months, there were always at least one, if not many, days where I was still in the single digits. So overall, it does seem like more people are engaging with the content, and even if my subscriber count isn't blowing up, I am really satisfied with that. For other social media over on Twitter, I have 559 followers and I am following 566 accounts. And on Instagram, I now have 102 followers and I follow 182 accounts. I'm still really struggling with Instagram. I think I am posting more regularly. I'm making a bigger deal of it mentally to try to be active on there. And now I am over 100 followers for the first time on Instagram, so it seems to be working at least a little bit. There's your overview of my month 7, what's been kicking around in my brain, and also the analytics for the channel. I really would genuinely love your feedback on a lot of questions I've posed to you thus far. If you already have a channel, what is your video upload schedule and how did you come to that decision? If you've dealt with mansplaining on the internet, do you have any effective strategies other than just ignoring them? And then what are the goals you have for your channel and how did you come to that decision as well? Particularly if you have goals that aren't based on your subscriber count, I really would love to hear what you're thinking about. Also, any feedback if you think your view of my channel would be affected negatively if I switched down to uploading only once a week instead of every 4 days. I'm pretty sure the YouTube algorithm favors you if you upload more regularly. I think that's why you see a lot of channels who work so hard to upload daily. But again, I just don't want to burn myself out, and I am coming up on a pretty busy season at work, so I'm thinking of taking things down a little. But let me know what you think. I really am interested to hear your thoughts. If you have made it this far through the video, I'm pretty sure you are already subscribed to the channel, but just in case you aren't, please go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Any and all interactions on my video really help me out in the eyes of the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to chat, leave a comment down below, or you can always find me over on Twitter and Instagram at Pixie Dust PhD. I hope the rest of your day is absolutely splendid, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.